already back at it this morning. We have decided where the lights are gonna go. Didn't film that whole so part, it's probably the most stressful part of the process. But luckily, we had a nice little cut here and fits nicely.
Does. Next one.
Boom. 2 more lights in the kitchen. Yeah. All right, Chris has installed the light and wired them. Now it is the moment of truth.
Has he done it?
Yay!
Awesome.
So cool. Nice job.
Thank you. So it'll be hooked up to the dimmer, so we'll be able to dim those along with the roof lights.
And we've decided we're gonna order 4 more of those to have them under our bed.
Awesome.
Yay! Verdict. Ta-da!
Very good.
Nice.
Oof. Couldn't be better.
Really nice. I think 2 hinges is good. We'll see.
Dunno.
Once we've got the other door here, not too sure if we should add a hinge in the middle. Because then there will be a little doorknob, the same that we've been using here. In the kitchen, actually, we haven't showed you yet, but we've changed. We use this one, which is kind of like a lower profile and sticks out a bit less than the doorknobs. And it fits nicely. I think it looks really nice, but you will have a little doorknob over there. Yeah.
I'm not happy with that.
Alright, and this is the finished result of the overhead cabinet. We have applied the wax on the edges of the birch ply. We have installed the doorknob, actually put the third hinge that looks much nicer. Chris had a great idea. And on both, we've got the same door catch. And the final element that we'll need to install will be just the gas strip so that it can stay nice and high like that. I'm very pleased with the result. Oh my God, chicken! Chuck, what have you done? Look at that! Just next to the camera and the computer. Oh my God! You are a crazy little bird. You are so lucky. Alright, so it's been a few days since the last clip that you've seen with the overhead cabinet. We were super happy with the result and stoked, like we had made some great progress recently. And these past days, it slowed down again. I think it's like a pattern in the build where we made great progress and then we slow down again. I think that happened maybe 4 times this year. I can like pinpoint. And when that slows down, usually both of us, our anxiety goes through the roof. And I want to be totally transparent. This week I really struggled, so that's why I didn't film much. I'm feeling a little bit better now because I guess we've got a better direction of where we're going. So right now Chris is getting stuck into the wiring, which is obviously such an important part of the build. So I'm trying to let him focus, give him some space, and I'm making breakfast. And I'm trying to focus on like little things that I can do in the meantime. So the past days, I've been trying to think about what we need to buy urgently. Because as you know, obviously Christmas is coming. The deliveries are going to take longer. That might arrive after Christmas. So I really want to avoid that. So today I need to buy 2 things. I need to get stuck into the outdoor shower elements and the outdoor kitchen. So for the outdoor kitchen, we've got already this gas stove from Coleman. That was the one that we used for, like, I guess, a travel with the Jeep. But as you can see, it's pretty rough, been well used. And in all honesty, as much as it works well, it's not the best cooktop. We actually broke, I think, 2 of this model, and that's the 3rd unit. So I don't think we want to keep this one long term. We heard there is another unit of Coleman that is much better. I think that's the Fahrenheit. but it doesn't fit the dimension in our outdoor kitchen. So I'd love to hear your recommendation for a gas cooker. For outside, we obviously are limited by the dimension of our toolbox, but I'll say most units should fit. I've heard some very good thing about the companion unit, so if you have this one, please let us know in the comment. And then now for the outdoor shower, I'm gonna order the same tank that we use for the grey water tanks. And then a little bit later with Chris, we'll brainstorm what pump and everything we'll be using. So yeah, trying to buy some little things for the build. Alright, so this morning I'm making breakfast, but this time not on our old gas stove. I'm actually gonna try for the first time cooking on our induction cooktop. At this stage, obviously I can't do the test inside the camper, but I still want just to try the unit as well, just to see how it works. I just want to try the unit because I haven't cooked with induction for like so long. So if you wonder, we will have the gas on the outside and we don't want any gas inside the camper. So that's why we've got a portable cooktop. I don't think we will always use it. As soon as we've got, good weather, we'll be mostly cooking outside, but I think it's great to have a backup inside in case of bad weather, or as well if one day we just want, to boil some water super fast. So let's give it a try. I just tested it just to make sure it was starting. So obviously it's connected now to just normal power on. As you can hear, it's pretty loud. The fan kicks in straight away, which I guess is good. So I'm just gonna put my eggs. Two. So 3 eggs for Chris. It's already hot. So that's set at 80 degrees. So we'll see how long it takes. I might try a little bit more. So one thing that I was very surprised with our pan, they're actually suitable with induction. So the way I managed to find out is I just got a magnet and just put it on there. And as you can see, it sticks. So it's the same material on both of this one, which is quite cool. So we don't have to upgrade, I guess, our cookware. We might get some additional one because this one are quite old now. Keep them for the gas. So yeah, that might be an upgrade in the card soon. But in the meantime, this works well. Very impressed. Cooking with induction.
Awesome. Sounds like an airplane taking off.
So we got this cooktop from Bunnings. It's one of the only twin portable induction cooktop we could find at a reasonable price. It was around like $200. And as well in terms of power, that was one of the most energy efficient we could find. So each stove is around, I think at the highest setting, 1,100 watts. So if we only use one, and I'm at the lower setting, I actually don't even know what currently it's using. So it's probably not much, which is great. That would be good once we've got all our wiring and like all our battery monitoring in the camper. We'll be able to tell exactly what kind of energy we're using. Right now we're cheating a little bit.
So you set it to fry.
Yeah, fry. We've got like different modes. Stew, fry, heat up, boil. Heat up might be good as well, but I feel like for eggs, maybe fry.
Heat up's probably really low.
Yeah. This seems pretty good.
Cool.
The other reason why we got a portable cooktop and not already built in is so that if we don't like it or if the unit doesn't work or any issue, we can just upgrade and change it down the track. So we think we'll probably put the unit like in the drawer that we'll build under the kitchen top. And yeah, that's where it will be stored, and then we can even have it outside one day if we really want to. If it's like really windy but beautiful, we can cook outside with that. So that's pretty exciting. All right, I should probably get the handle. That'll be better. All right, what's going on here? Oh, as soon as you remove the pan, switch it off. That's a really cool feature.
Yeah, it's cooking pretty good.
Yeah. And I've got it at the lower setting. I can probably make it faster, but I'm just trying to get used to it. Don't want to burn the egg straight away. And the last reason as well, I just thought about it while we wanted to go with induction, is as we plan to travel overseas, we've heard like so many bad stories about having gas because you have to get different fittings to fill up your gas bottle for the different countries. So now we're very confident that our Enerdrive system will be able, especially in Australia, with all the solar that we've got, to be able to cook with the induction. And we think when you cook with induction, having a backup is the key, so that no matter what, you know, even if one day it's overcast, we don't drive and we have no power, we can still have our coffee with the gas and breakfast. That's important. All right, Chris, breakfast is ready.
Alrighty, so a lot more has gone on in the electrical cabinet since I last showed you guys. So I wanted to do an introduction to our next big toy, I guess, that we haven't shown you. So we've got this unit here, which is a 2600 watt pure sine wave inverter. Now what that does is that transforms DC current, so what we'll be getting from our batteries, into AC current, which means we can charge, like we've shown you before, our 230 volt fridge. It'll do our aircon, it'll do our cook plate that Ange just showed you, and our hot water heater. So pretty much all of our appliances are standard 230, 240 volt stuff. So this is where this inverter comes in. Now it's super clever in that not only is it really safe, so it has built-in RCDs, it has a circuit breaker on the front for one of the 10 amp outputs, which is really nice, but it also has what's called an AC transfer switch. So when we plug into shore power, or basically if we rock up at a caravan park or someone's house, we plug into their power just with a hard line, then this basically senses that it's got that current coming in, and it will transfer directly from that power source into all of our appliances and act as an even stronger inverter when that happens, which is pretty neat. So that happens via these hardwired cables on the side. Yeah, so that is pretty awesome. So other things it's got is it does have its own little 10 amp outlet on the front. I will put in a multi-plug down into the cabinet below here, and that'll be our charging station for like camera batteries and laptop and stuff like that. We can just put it in there and charge everything off our inverter. So that's really nice. Now something I wired up yesterday was this big 300 amp continuous battery cutoff switch. So that way we can switch on and off the batteries without having to go into there and unplug anything, and that'll immediately take load off the whole system there. So we're using big 95mm cables. That's even thicker than the winch cable we used. And that's to deal with the really high current loads at 12 volt. So that's something we're going to be really careful of because we don't want any fires in here. So today we're going to go to a wholesaler who sells more of the orange, which you would have seen on the winch installation. It's a double insulated welding cable, and it's a pretty good price. The only thing is it's bright orange. So I'm going to make up a few more leads, and that's going to run from the inverter directly to the circuit breakers on the Enerdrive E-System E-board. So yeah, we're cracking right along with that, which is really good. Another thing that I'll briefly touch on is the e-power charger. That is now plugged also into AC. Now that basically means that when the vehicle is plugged into shore power, this guy will also charge our batteries. So say, you know, we've got some really poor weather and we're just sitting up somewhere for a really long period of time and we want to crank everything up, this guy will replenish our batteries when we're plugged in, which is really neat. So not too much more to do. Obviously there's the solar system. I'm leaving that to a little bit later because that's going to require quite a lot of man hours I get to get all that sorted. But we've got the DC to DC charger, which I'm going to wire up in the next couple of days, and that's another reason we're going to the electrical wholesaler to buy that cabling. So basically we've got some just unused cable here below, and I'm using that as basically a yardstick. So I've run that to the truck battery and basically seeing how much length I'm going to need to run up to my DC to DC charger. Then Ange and I will measure it with a big long tape measure and we'll know exactly how much we need, so we're not buying excess. And then I'll buy some terminals, battery terminals, and we'll be away laughing. So yeah, pretty neat. We're getting somewhere. Thank you so much to all who offered their advice on the diesel heater that I recently installed. So the instructions that came with the unit unfortunately were really poor, so it didn't state a lot of what you guys mentioned. I've done some more research online, which I should have done to begin with, to show that yeah, there are a few things I can definitely do a bit better. One of those is I can have the fuel pump not only outside but also on a slight angle to make sure that the flow is, that there's not any air bubbles in the line. So what's happened since we last saw you as well is we've ordered a little diesel tank. I didn't trust the one like I showed you last time, the clear one with the blue cap. Didn't like the look of that. This one looks a lot more sturdy, has a lockable fuel cap, and it's on the side, so we can basically treat it like a like our diesel tank. So when we fill up our diesel tank on this side, we can fill this up at the same time whenever we need to. So that we're going to attach to the rear of the mud flap. A little bit of an odd spot, but it fits there. We had wanted to put it maybe on the toolbox, but I think there's just not really enough room, and I'm trying to avoid cutting through these pipes with the grinder any more than I already have. So this is a 10 litre. I had mentioned would do a 20 litre one here, but have decided 10 litre will be ample. I mean, it's the same fuel source we already need in the truck, so it's not like we're going to run out anytime soon. And that'll leave that 20 litres free to either carry a water jerry can, another diesel jerry can, or maybe even petrol if we ever did run some sort of a motorbike powered by petrol, or even a generator which would run on petrol. So we're keeping that one free, which I think is a bit smarter. So this is good in that it's got the inlet, the fuel in it right on the very bottom. What I'm going to do is move the fuel pump outside, have it attached underneath on a slight angle, and that'll run direct to this, and Bob's your uncle. Now on the inside I showed you the exhaust. So from everything I can tell online, it looks like you can have the diesel heater above the level of the floor. I mean, ideally it would go straight through the floor, but you can, it looks like you can buy brackets and stuff for that. But what Ange and I are going to do is wrap the exhaust pipe with a car builder's exhaust wrap, and any that I have left over I'll wrap on the actual exhaust near the turbo of the truck as well. So kind of kill two birds with one stone there, and I reckon that'll be fine, and then I'll just monitor it the first time we crank it up. So that's what we're going to do in the next couple of days in terms of the diesel heater.
Excuse the mess, still the construction site in here.
Hopefully not for too much longer.
It's one thing we realized this week with the weather really increasing temperature is how much cooler it is in the camper compared to outside. So that's a
It
bonus.
really is. We've been cooking this week, and it's not so bad. It's a bit of respite in here, which is cool. Yeah, so Ange has been editing this morning, and I have been drawing up solar wiring diagrams and wrapping my head around that, making sure the installation is going to be safe as houses. So I think I'm on top of that. So we're going to make some orders today, do a trip or two to J-Car, and I reckon I'm hoping in the next week or two I'll have the solar wired as well.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So,
Perfect timing for summer.
it was all so overwhelming. I had a huge amount of help, just verbally and just with a million messages from absolute legend in New Zealand called Brendan Tate. He has a little YouTube channel that he's not running so much at the moment, but he'll probably pick that back up. But the bloke is an absolute genius. Check out some of his videos if you want to see how smart this dude actually is. And he's been a huge amount of help and given me a lot of peace of mind just in this last week in particular, because I got really overwhelmed with just how much was going on with the electrical system, and he helped talk it through for a dumbass like myself, which is brilliant. And now I can actually kind of understand and wrap my head around stuff. So cheers, Brendan, that's massively appreciated, man.
Yeah, thank you. And I think for anyone doing a build like we do or like similar, I think the key message here is break down your big projects so that they don't get overwhelming. Like
Yes.
Start with like little things so you have some little wins every day. Otherwise, if you start to tackle the project as a whole, it just gets like way too overwhelming. So I think that was
I
for
agree,
you.
100%. I'm the sort of person, if there's too much going on, I end up finding a way to procrastinate and do none of it and not actually begin, because I'm like, oh, it's too much, I'll do it another day. And that's obviously the worst thing I can be doing. I just need to, yeah, like Ange said, take bite-sized chunks, because that's how you eat an elephant after all. And yeah, well,
You
we're
did
getting
very
there.
well.
We're getting
Very,
there.
very impressed.
Thank you.
So yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a shorter episode this week. We still want to be realistic and show you that sometimes you do a lot of progress and sometimes there's just a little bit more slow progress, but progress regardless.
Yeah, even just progress up here actually goes a really long way with progress physically afterwards.
So yeah, we'll see you next week for more progress updates.
Thanks so much,
Thank
guys. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Bye.